How you doing? I'm Uncle Ricky, and I'm damn glad that you chose to join me once again at Uncle Ricky's house. And tonight, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court of the United States of America and how screwed up they are and how badly they have fucked the women of this country. Last week, I believe it was like Friday night, Politico reported that they had a copy of a leaked decision from the United States Supreme Court written by Associate Justice Alito, stating that the court had decided to overturn the Roe versus Wade decision from 1973, which made abortion federally legalized in the United States of America. Now, until then, it was all up to the states to decide. Some did, some didn't. Some were, like half-ass measures or whatever. But the biggest thing that the original decision did was gave women the right to control their own bodies. In other words, if you got pregnant, you were not forced to have that baby. You had an option. Now, personally, me, I am not that, if it was me and my girl, my woman, I would say no. But it's her decision. I'm not the one carrying that baby. Yeah, it's some of me in there, but I'm not the one that's got to carry it for 9 months. I'm not the one that's got to lay there and spit it out. So, yeah, the final decision should be hers. That's her right. The Supreme Court basically said about women's rights, they said, screw it, it doesn't matter. Because the Congress of the United States of America never said it was law. So our interpretation is that it's a state's right to decide whether abortion should be legal or not. Well, this is fucked up. Because you have certain states that take joy in trying to turn back the clock to 1910 or 1865. Actually, 1860. Anything before 1860. If you know your history, you know what I'm saying. All right. Now, the thing with this is that judges are supposed to be apolitical. In other words, the political platforms, the political philosophies of the different parties, whichever one that they are affiliated with, are not supposed to influence their decisions. Because in this case, their decision is going to become law or influence law. So now the Supreme Court is actually outside of its original intended role to interpret the law. They are, in fact, making law because the Congress has failed to do its duty. The Congress has failed to monitor the needs of the people in the country and make applicable laws for the good of the people and the country. Now, I know I keep saying it's the Congress's fault. It is, but I do not. That don't even begin to think that takes the Supreme Court off the hook. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. It is supposed to have more integrity than any other judicial body in this country. And they're all supposed to have integrity, but they're supposed to have the most. The court has lost its integrity thanks to being stacked by the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Not only did Trump stack the Supreme Court, he stacked the federal court with Trump loyalists all the way up and down the ladder. So now, whenever you enter the federal court system, you have a high chance of running into a Trump-appointed judge. And this shouldn't make a difference whether Trump appointed him, Obama appointed him, Billy Graham was never president, but some people wanted him to be. But the thing is, whoever appointed him shouldn't make a difference. The difference is how they interpret the law. And when you get conservatives that don't have a law to interpret, and they have the opportunity to make law because there's nothing to interpret, then guess what kind of law they're going to make. Now, I said the Congress was at fault. The Congress is at fault for not codifying. Codifying means to make a decision into law. In other words, we're going to make a law to support the decision, so now that it doesn't have to be interpreted. It's right there in black and white. So abortion is illegal. Abortion is legal. You know? And if they said abortion was legal, then no state would have the right to tell a woman that they cannot get an abortion. No state would be able to tell a woman that, guess what, honey? I know you got raped, but you got to have that baby because God said, thou shalt not kill. I know, sweetheart, that you're only 12 years old and your daddy snuck into your room at 2 o'clock and had a workout, and now you're 13 and a couple months and you're going to have a kid. It's a shame. Yes, incest is illegal. Yeah, we're gonna haul your dad away, and we might even lock him up, depending. But abortion is illegal. So, honey, pull him up, because you're gonna have it. You have to have it. That is the law of the state. Are you starting to see the insanity? Are you starting to wonder why? Especially when you know that the majority of the people in the United States, regardless of race, creed, religion, or sex, are pro-choice. They may not do it themselves, but they believe that a woman should at least have the option. Now, there's anecdotal situations that go both ways. You know, didn't have an abortion and the kids came out wonderful. Didn't have an abortion and the kid turned out to be a serial killer. Had an abortion and went out and got pregnant again. Had an abortion and went on and lived my life and became something useful and didn't get tied up in bullshit of trying to raise a child. Now, I said bullshit, but I don't mean raising a child is bullshit. But when a person is not ready or a person is not willing to put up with the things that are required to even have a chance of successfully raising a child, it becomes bullshit. Everybody is up in arms about the abortion thing, and they should be. They should be. But this is only the beginning. Roe versus Wade was based, the argument was based, the original decision was based on an oral argument based on the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment determines it specifies exactly who is a citizen of the United States. And it says verbatim, well, I'm sorry, not verbatim because I'm not going to quote. It says that anyone who is deemed a citizen is entitled to the rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States. Now, there are no abortion laws in the Constitution. There are none that says it's legal. There are none that says it's not. So, these wise ass conservative right-wing motherfuckers said that because there is no written law, and this argument is based on the 14th Amendment, then pro-choice is an assumption that the forefathers did not intend. They always say that forefathers did not intend. Half the shit that we're going through now, the forefathers had no conception of it, so how could they have intentions towards or not towards? Dumbass arguments. And unfortunately, they work on dumbass people because we don't use the biggest weapon that was ever given to us, the fucking vote. They can't get in if we don't vote them in. They can't do if we start voting for people that are going to listen to people, listen to the public, actually listen to their constituents. And don't get me wrong, some of them actually live in places where the majority of their constituents are like, no abortion. God said, thou shalt not kill. But you have to remember, they are not everyone. They are not everyone in their state. They are not everyone in the country. But they get a vote. And because they understand the power of the vote, of their vote, they do everything they can to protect their vote while taking away everyone else's right to vote that's not going to vote like them. Now back to the 14th Amendment. There's a lot of things that go on in this country that are considered legal, but they are not written law. They are interpretations by the Supreme Court of existing law, but there are no specified laws. That's why you have things that need to be codified. But because we don't value our vote and we don't vote for congressional representatives that understand what their job is instead of a lifetime paycheck, because all they do is run their mouths and keep getting reelected and doing nothing. There's a lot of different reasons why Congress is so ineffective, but the biggest reason is because of the people that are in Congress. And we, us, you and me, we are the ones that put them there. So who can fix the problem the quickest? Stop putting assholes in Congress. Put people in Congress that can do some shit. Put people in Congress that can work some things out. Put people in Congress that can actually pass bills that benefit people, all people, when they need it. And this country needs a lot of shit. Back to the Supreme Court. This whole conservative movement, just like when they overturned it because they said that, the 14th Amendment did not specify that abortion was legal, so it was a weak ass argument. There's a lot of things in the 14th Amendment that we assume that are law that we do every day that we think are, there for into perpetuity. Wrong answer. Some of the biggest things that we assume are law and will stand as long as the flag waves are Supreme Court interpretations of the rights or of the as stated in the 14th Amendment. But it is not law. Some of those things are stuff like Brown versus the Board of Education, the thing that integrated the schools that said that separate but equal was bullshit, which it was, that schools should be racially integrated in the United States. Loving versus Virginia, the Supreme Court decision that made interracial marriage legal, which said that no matter what state which made it so that no matter what state you were in, you could marry somebody of another race. Because what the hey, they're human beings. Just like you're a human being. So where's the damage? But because it's not law, because it was a decision by the Supreme Court, it was a precedent set down by the Supreme Court, just like Roe versus Wade. If the Supreme Court makeup doesn't change, or if Congress doesn't get off its ass, and when I say that, you know that it's going to have to be the Democrats to do it, because they're Republicans. If they're not 100% against it, the ones that on the inside that agree with the Democrats, that whatever is needed, or wacko or whatever, they're not going to open their mouths because they know they're going to be canceled by the over-the-top MAGA crowd. They're going to get put down and stomped on, a la Liz Cheney, Kissinger. And they tell us that we are in cancel culture. They are the biggest cancel culture artists out there. They perfected it. They have perfected it. That Rhino, Republican in name only, it's an effective tool. It is an effective tool. Look at all the bodies Trump left in his wake by pulling the carpet out from under them, or calling them out as labeling in front of the entire world as rhinos. Rhinos. Republicans in name only. Well, I said all of that to say this. there's a tool. The Supreme Court is only one part of it. But there's a mechanism in place to make a small, not a small portion of a country, but definitely not a majority, not even a plurality of the country able to impose its philosophies on everyone else. In other words, certain people that look alike, pray alike, have bank accounts alike, are going to tell the rest of the world or the rest of this country what to do. Now, if you look at it and analyze it, they have implanted themselves in every level of government, from town to county to state to federal, into the three main branches of federal government: the legislative, the judicial, and the executive. You'd be surprised how many people in Congress that got elected don't even know what the three branches of government are. Ask Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert, for that matter. Now, I don't even know how the fuck they got there, but they're there. The thing that is so dangerous and so evil is that once the right piece falls into place, another Trump or Trump himself that values autocracy over democracy, they're going to choke the shit out of the United States. It's not going to be the same. It might even have the same name. It might have the same name. It might leave the name the same. They'll probably leave the flag the same. But it's not going to be a democracy. It's going to be a certain group of individuals dominating the lives of everyone else. Roe versus Wade is just the beginning. It's just the motherfucking beginning. Women of America got bent over and screwed by a bunch of old men in robes. And I hope none of them get pregnant, because if they're in the wrong state, they gotta have it. There's going to be more follow-up on this, because the attack on the 14th Amendment is there. And I will get to that later, but I just had to get this shit off my chest. I'm going to say goodbye for now. This is Uncle Ricky signing off, the man in the middle, your best buddy. To all the middle-class people like me, God bless, and enjoy being in the middle.
It's time for Uncle Ricky to spit some shit.
That's right, it's me, one more time, Uncle Ricky. Strap up, join me around the table at Uncle Ricky's house and jump down that motherfucking rabbit hole as we talk about our whacked-ass Supreme Court in episode number 4 of Uncle Ricky's House. SCOTUS, the American Taliban.